Hello, welcome back. Today we are discussing episode 9 of the Dicely campaign. As always, we will be discussing spoilers for this episode and all previous episodes, so if you don't want to be spoiled, you can go check out the link to the episode up in my bio. Otherwise, let's just get on going. Episode 9 starts up right where the last episode left off, with us being captured in Grassfire. The characters that had a reasonable chance of actually managing to escape capture did get to roleplay out that. Azaria, Gideon, and Elowin, with our 8 and lower strength, were not even given the opportunity to attempt to escape. I had one strategy going into this, and it involved misty stepping, so the moment Denny told us our mouths were gagged, I knew I had no hope. Good thing we have some strength-based characters on our team as well, though, because they managed to get us out of this. I really thought a much bigger fight was going to happen here, but Abe killed 2 people and then they kind of just gave up. We convinced the residents of Grassfire to leave and stop sending people to the cannibals, and then we head out ourselves. So we start to head towards the mountains where the cannibals live, and they come riding out to meet us. A group of 20 or so of them come out and surround us. They're led by a man who's dressed in all black leather armor. He's got a black visor on, and we can see just a teal bun sticking out the top of his head. They invite us to come with them. I'm not really sure we have much of a choice. But Abe has his mark of Malden shown very proudly, so I think that at least helps us get us through this first line of questioning. This group takes us up to the mountains and through this long winding path. Harpies fly above us. The path we're taking is through the mountains. We have to switch to individual horses because the cart is too large to fit through it. And it's a pretty long path and well hidden. Like no one will ever find us if we don't come back from here. Nell attempts to get herself killed for the 1000th time. With a complete disregard for safety or social cues, she pushes her way up to talk to this teal-haired leader while we are doing this hike. He doesn't really give her the time of day, but boy does she like to get herself in those kinds of situations. They take us through this winding path and eventually into a cave inside the mountains. And it's a really strange place. We can smell tar and mildew in here. There's a couple different types of residents, but the one that stands out, at least to Elowin, the most are these kind of elves that exist down here. Elowin has lived in the Wilder for the majority of her life. She knows fey creatures. She is a fey creature, kinda. They have like pale blue-green skin, and their hair seems to glow in the dark. And as we're moving through, Drac notices a couple that seem to be able to walk through walls or go invisible at will as we're kind of moving through the town in here. We're led to a big kind of chamber room, and there's a number of important looking people in here. One of which is another one of these weird elves. And he's even stranger. He has this super gaunt, sunken-in face, which is not what you normally see in elves. Elves generally age very gracefully and stay quite beautiful and youthful until the day they die. So it's super weird to see an elf that looks partially skeletal. And Denny also described him as his limbs being a little bit too big for his body, which is cool, I guess. And Abe speaks to this gaunt-faced elf and asks where Valen is. This man, of course, replies that he is Valen. He is who we have come to find, and who Abe has come to challenge in battle. Valen seems very, very knowledgeable about the religion that surrounds Malden and the beast and about Abe. He knows more about Abe than Abe knows about himself, or at least he seems to. And Valen explains to Abe that he is not yet ready to fight him in a duel. We learn and kind of, I guess, confirm some suspicions we have had that Abe has died many times before, and every time he does, he resets in his strength, and he needs to work his way and climb his way back up to his full strength again. Valen tells him that he is nowhere near the strength he needs to be to fight him at this moment. And Abe seems very confused about this. This isn't what Malden told him. And again, Valen makes some sort of like snarky comment like, yes, that's going to make sense someday too. Like Valen has seen this happen before or knows what is going to happen. Valen proposes that instead of the two of them fighting, that Abe fights his son, and he points to the teal-bunned man who had led us up here. Introduces him as Lyco. Valen proposes that Abe and Lyco fight to the death, and that will prove to Abe that he is not yet ready to fight Valen himself. Abe seems conflicted, but does eventually agree to this alternative fight instead. We move into another cavern, and in this one we find the bones of many old beasts. And in fact, we find the bones of a T-Rex that have been placed into the wall of the cave. And we learn that this was once the beast, the entity that resides inside of Abe now. Abe and Lyco fight, and it does seem to be an impossibly hard battle. Lyco has this ability to appear and disappear at will, perhaps plane shifting, perhaps just going invisible, we don't really know. But Abe is struggling to land any sort of blows on this guy, and Lyco is doing tons of damage to him. The group spoke before, and Abe asked none of us to intervene with this fight, which I know kills Nell. She just wants to help everybody. There's nothing the group can do but sit by and kind of watch Abe get the shit kicked out of him. As we're watching this fight kind of start to come to a close, all of a sudden there's a rumbling throughout the cave, and a bunch of holes begin to appear all around us. Bugs, like the ones we had seen near Starcross, begin to crawl their way into this cave. Which is weird. What are these bugs? The rest of the party at least seems to be allowed to fight these while Lyco and Abe finish their fight, so we do. Lyco knocks Abe out and then helps join us fighting off these bugs as well. Once the bugs are all dead, Nell goes over to Abe and lays her hands on him to give him an HP and bring him back, thinking that the fight is over. But Lyco reminds us that this was a fight to the death and neither of them have died yet. And so he comes over and stabs Abe in the chest. Drac tries to stop him, but Nell, amazingly, lets it go. This is some sort of holy ritual, and I think we all understand that and trust that Abe knew what he was doing when he challenged these people to a fight and told us not to intervene. And so the group stands by as Lyco stabs Abe in the chest and kills him. Full dead. Our first party kill. But, of course, Valen comes over then and resurrects Abe using a spell scroll, which, noticeably, does not require any material components. If you know what that means, you know. And Abe is brought back to life. I think his pride has been wounded a little bit here. I do not think this went the way he expected it to. I don't think this went the way most of us expected it to be honest. And the session ends there with tons of questions left unanswered. Get ready for the start of session 10. It's gonna be question heavy. Speaking of which, episode 10 will be streamed live on Twitch this Saturday, August 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can join us at twitch.tv/DicelyDND. Links are in my bio. You can also follow DicelyDND on Twitter, or you can follow myself on Twitter at Dallasor. And from there, you will hear when we go live, or catch up on the VODs, or catch up on the podcast. We have a Warlock-themed podcast coming out next Friday that I am on, talking about Elwyn and talking about one of my past Warlocks. Joined with my good friend Matt, and of course always hosted by Denny. If you are interested in hearing more about Warlocks and what crazy, fun, customizable things you can do with them, you can check that episode of the podcast out. But, my friends, that is all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love doing this campaign, and we love that people like to watch it. So please, come out to the Twitch streams and show your love if you're enjoying it. So, with that being said, I will see you this Saturday. I hope you all stay happy and stay healthy. Goodbye!